I'm Erin Nelson, or Hanky Pysanky, and today I'm going to work on a dragon egg. Now eventually this is going to be purple, but emo eggs are dark and they don't take color very well. So you can see there's like one little nick that actually shows the pinkish purple fuchsia that I put on it. The nice thing about emo egg shells is that they have this really nice texture that's going to show up at the end. Now people ask if I use guidelines, and you know, I use very basic guidelines just so that I know where, that's dying, just so I know where to start and to stop. Now, you know, of course the problem with a dark emo egg is that, you know, is a pencil line actually going to show up? Sort of. So I'll try this white pencil and see, because I basically just want to get, just enough guideline that I can keep the scales going to the hole, because I'm going to have to patch the hole at the end. So just enough for that, and then like, if that's the apex, I'll give that a little. So that eventually I'm going to want to bring them back and join in there. Because of course if you're dealing with scales, they're going to triangulate up, and then they're going to have to triangulate back in to get there eventually. In case you didn't know, this is my first attempt at a video of what I'm doing, so I apologize in advance if my camera technique is absolutely terrible. So I don't use electric Pysanky for these because I want to get so much wax flow coming out of these that electrics just don't work very well for that. I want to use the manuals, the old-fashioned. I've got a couple of Delrins here, and I've pretty much worn down the tips. Like, I think you might be able to see how worn down that particular tip is. But it works real nice on these guys. And I'll start out with a medium, just to get things moving. I haven't used these Pysanky at all in months, so who knows how grody this is going to be in there. And if Karen Hanlon watches this, she'll be horrified at how dirty my Pysanky are. I am not good about keeping mine clean, obviously. Something in there. There we go. And I'm just going to start out with just plain beeswax. I got a big old chunk, like a couple pounds of it, years ago. And I just cut off bits at a time, warm it up a little bit. Okay. I'll start out just with a little kinda, with one scale. See how visible this is. It is very difficult to see these as we're working. I do have some white wax. I think I tried that once. But I use a lot of wax doing these dragon eggs. And so the important part with the scales is making sure that there's space in between the scales, because that's what's going to get etched away. And if you put the scales too close together, well, then you don't get any good definition. And then the trick, what's always hard for me with these, is that the scales, they should be a little bit organic. They shouldn't be perfect. They shouldn't be uniform. It shouldn't be perfect geometric precision. If you look at the way the scales usually are, oh, and I'm already getting lines, so I'm already ruining this. So what I'm doing here is that all of the scales are going to point away from the apex or tip of the egg, and then they'll eventually meet back right around where the hole is. And sometimes I start this with a 4, sometimes I start it with a 6, sometimes with an 8. It just kind of depends on what feels right that day. And then there's also the option, oops, it's got a nice big blob. Well, that'll just be a big scale. Sometimes it's easier just to incorporate it than to try and fix it. And you can also play around. You can have bigger scales or smaller scales. Of course, you know, the smaller the scales are, the more lines you have to etch. But I think they usually look better with the smaller scales. And then you'll have to do some splits as it gets bigger, or as the circumference gets more and more around the egg. And I think here, anywhere that I do have a little bit of a light spot or a thin spot in the shell, I'm definitely going to cover that up with wax, because I don't want to, I want to save that color for one of the scales, and I don't want to lose it as I'm etching deeper and deeper into this egg. Oops, another blob. I'm going to lose that. But I don't have any toothpicks nearby, so I'll deal with that later. It'll be obvious as I'm trying to etch it away and go like, why can't I get any definition around that scale? Then I'll remember, oh right. So those basic guidelines, I'm still kind of looking at them. Just sort of trying to keep the scales going in the same direction. But one nice thing about this is one of the very few Pysanky related things that you can do if you've had a little bit to drink. Because of course, these are not perfect lines. Nothing about this is perfect. So if you mess up a little bit, and if your lines are wonky and crooked, it just looks better. If you're hearing any weird exploding noises in the background, that's the other half playing some kind of game in his office. Let's see if I can put this on time lapse now, because this is going to take a while.